Okay, I'm a little bit later than I had anticipated, about 15 minutes later, or thereabouts. Hello, I am Nikki Jacobs. This is Restore Belief with Nikki, and I am doing a little bit of business here. So, let's see. Have this come up. There we go. And I need to get into all of this. Okay. And why can I not? Now this is interesting. Share. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. Let's see if this works. All right. Finally live. Okay. Hey, bear with me, guys. I'm simply trying to get this all set up and going. I have not done. Hopefully you can all hear me. Somebody in chat, let me know you can actually hear me, please. Again, welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. I am Nikki. Tonight's topic of conversation, there's a lot that's going to be talked about. To say the least. Okay, live link. Link. I have not been on in 3 weeks. There are reasons for that. Hello, thank you. Hey, can hear you fine. Awesome. Thank you, S4 Bunker. Appreciate that. So I am just making sure that I'm hitting all the places that I'm supposed to get the link up to different folks. So one of the things that I want to talk about, well, there's a number of things I want to talk about tonight, but one of them is past lives. Okay, live link. There we go. Okay. Past lives. Also, I had one of the biggest reasons actually, that I have not been on. First and foremost, just came off of a show. Hey, little Cam. Hey, Robert. Hi, Matthew Blair. Welcome. One of the reasons why I have not been on, part of it is because of health. The other part of it is because I had a friend who committed suicide. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was the fact of I came over. Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight is past lives and what takes place. If there is a unaliving of a self and what takes place on the other side. As I understand it, as a psychic medium, and I can't, here's the other thing, I am not an on-demand, what some people would classify it as an on-demand psychic medium. You get to talking to me and things come up. That's how I get information. Sometimes it's an automatic, sometimes it just takes time. So for me, that's how my ability, hey Angelica, that is how my abilities work. Everybody is different. There are people that I know that are very good on demand. I am an energy worker. Most people that know me know that I'm a pretty damn good energy worker, and especially if there's an emergency or something of that nature. But on the show that I was just coming from last week, not tonight, but last week, we were talking about, we had really delved into past lives. And hey, Pacific Northwest Mythos. Hi, sweetie. Good to see you. So the things that take place during that On the other side, when you have an unaliving of self, I think I only said CS once, so hopefully I don't get nailed for that on YouTube. But on the other side, as I understand it, when somebody does that in regular life, they, on the other side, end up back in school, so to speak. And what ends up taking place now, I know that didn't happen right away for my friend because he was around me damn near 24/7, bugging the ever-loving shit out of me. And he had done something absolutely horrific before he had done this to himself. So that's going to play into what happens to his soul as well. And whether or not I agree with what he did, which I don't, in any way, shape, or form, I'm not happy about it by any stretch of the imagination. And the other side tried to curb my anger, say the very least, because I wanted to go after him. And they knew I could. And I've done an awful lot of paranormal stuff in my life. Experienced a lot of paranormal in my life. But I have never had a prime angel, and it wasn't until, because this happened 3 weeks ago, or almost 4 weeks ago. Actually, we're coming up on the 1 month. My point is that they knew how strong and how powerful I am in the ethereal. I'm physically disabled in this life right now due to a number of factors, but in the ethereal, it's a very, thank you, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, my folks. So, yeah, there's been an awful lot of crying. I just love my friend to pieces, and we were very close and did not see this coming, and was not, I had different, I can't even classify it as warnings. I don't even know what to classify it as from the other side. Because usually if somebody does pull something like that, they put it in my path and force me to stop the person in whatever fashion or form. And I've done that a number of times. For whatever reason, and that's what I wanted to talk about tonight too, is that there are times where we're not supposed to do anything. That's been very frickin' difficult for me to handle and to accept. And then there are times when we aren't. And in this situation, it was not made clear to me. With the situation regarding a young woman that I knew who was in her 30s at the time, a number of years ago. Her grandmother, who was on the other side, forced me into a promise before she had died to watch out for her granddaughter. And I did. I followed with that. Her grandmother came to me and said, hey, she needs to go say goodbye to her grandfather, because her grandfather was alive and although had Alzheimer's and all this stuff, was put into a facility. And so I got told that was the reason why she needed to physically say goodbye to her grandfather. I did not know that only a few days after she saw her grandfather, she was a pedestrian, she was hit and killed as a pedestrian. And kind of lost my shit over that. And I kind of lost my shit over this one. Because the other side knows that if I have an opportunity to stop something, and I've been known to. I can give a number of examples, but I'm not going to right now. Those that know really know. The point being is that on the other side, when it comes to unaliving self, there are consequences. There are actions that are taken, and it's very difficult for people to handle. Now, it's also difficult for the soul to handle because they basically go back into school and are retaught before they are released again. It's kind of like when a soul has done some really horrific things in life, such as the government asshats who have come after me a number of times, and where it's been witnessed by a number of people that I have worked with, the government asshats, their souls, have got some serious consequences coming to them. And that was made very abundantly clear to me when I really wanted to go after them, and because I'm extremely strong in the ethereal, or etheric, however you want to call that, and in the astral as well. And they got very wicked with me about it and told me flat out, you are not to do anything to cause your soul consequences in this lifetime in that kind of a nature. And I went, they need to be stopped. I'm not the only person that is being affected by what they're doing. There are thousands, if not millions, of people that are being affected. And I got specifically told by the other side, you are to stay out of it, and if you don't, then you're going to have consequences. And they showed me some of the consequences, and I went, whoa, that's not cool. Okay, so I learned a lesson. I got taught a very hard lesson. So, and now the interesting thing is that I'm learning from the other side is that they're having their comeuppance. They're having their consequences right now. Now, whatever that's from, I don't know. But I can tell you one thing, I'm very happy about it. And I'm glad that it's not costing my soul. Because I had 2 lifetimes doing one of the very early lifetimes on this planet as a human. I was not a very good human. I was a very, very wicked individual. And those 2 lifetimes as that wicked individual cost my soul a number of lifetimes of consequences and repair and all of that. Hey, rewriters, the Nikki and fellow Earthlings and the hybrids alike, God bless all. Right on. Oh, sweetie, how you doing? Tell your wife I said hello. Yeah, it's been a while. So anyway, regarding the other side, our soul has consequences to our actions. Very, very significant consequences to our actions. She is listening and she says, look, hey, sweetie. A little camp, yes, indeed. So this is why I'm feeling good enough right now. I'm still having headaches and migraines and stuff like that. Part of it is stress. The other part of it is medical. The headaches are stress. The migraines are medical. That's always fun. At least I know what the difference is. And then now to add the heat, and the only reason why I'm on now no headache. The heat is a little bit much, but it's cooling down, and I did have to close my window. I didn't have it closed during the S4 Paranormal Bunker show that I just came from, but this is not all these subjects are not everything I want all my neighbors to hear. Let's just put it that way, because everybody's got their windows open, or their upstairs windows open is what I should say. Anyhow, so I come to you almost 4 weeks after all of this has taken place, and my friends unaliving of themselves and of doing something absolutely horrific before that. I want to talk about the past lives and what that can cost on our soul, and I want to talk about what happens to the soul when we do nasty and horrific things. So, and this is as I know it, as has been told to me, and as I have seen other souls go through things. For example, there's a young woman that I know who is on the other side, who was Catholic, and she and her mother her mother still is a necromancer. And I don't know what else. It goes beyond dark magics. Let's just put it that way. And I know people that will say there is no light in dark magic. Yes, actually there is. It's all in how you use it and how you choose to use your abilities and your energies and that kind of thing. And the daughter had basically, as it was told to me by her, had a hit put out on her by her mother because the mother wanted the children. The mother got the children, by the way. The daughter is on the other side, and she came to me, and I've told this story on a couple of occasions. The mother had put a hit out on the daughter, and if I could prove it, I would, because this woman, this mother, I have choice words, but nobody listens, and that's the problem. I know where certain things are buried because of psychic ability, because the other side, and I know certain things that she did that could potentially prove it, but again, nobody fucking listens. And it would take warrants and all kinds of stuff to do what needs to be done to deal with this woman. Unfortunately, the daughter's body will never be found. It went into a river and got broken to pieces, and there's all sorts of stuff I could tell you about that. But anyway, my point is that the daughter came to me and she said, I wanted you to know what took place, what happened to me. She said, you're exactly right with the information that you received about my necklace, about these specific things. I know where my mother put them. And this was a number of years ago, when a number of different psychics were working on this case, and this is the information that I got. And then the daughter came to me, and then she started telling me about what her mother had done, who she had contacted, the first name of the person. She even showed me a picture of the one who unalived her. According to what I know, this man is no longer alive, because he was a serious bad guy. So there's no real justice. So here she is, she's standing in front of me, surrounded by a very specific kind of angels that I have never seen in my entire life before. And she's telling me that she's in purgatory. Now, as I know it, purgatory doesn't exist. However, with what she talked about and with what I talked about with the, because these kind of angels would not talk to me, but there were other angels outside the perimeter. I don't know how else to explain that. Outside of the perimeter, who were listening and actually explained different things to me minutely, and then eventually I got more information after she had left, because she was on a time crunch, and apparently they were instructed to bring her to me to give me the information. It was very interesting. I learned a great deal that night. And she classified it, the daughter classified it as purgatory. The angels who were talking to me were like, it's not purgatory, but it's what she thinks of it as. But what is actually taking place is that it's kind of essentially an educational format of college as how we would view it, but it's also a form of a prison. And I went, okay, so does that mean, and I got cut off, and I then got told it's because of the necromancy that she was doing, and you can classify it as necromancy. And I went, really? We're talking full-on blood magic, the whole kit and caboodle. And they were like, yeah. Animals, hair of people, skin of people, the whole kit and caboodle, okay? I know that I'm a Gen Xer, so that's a Gen X saying, so hello. Great late night stream for a Thursday. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Anyway, so this is what I talked about with those angels, and I learned an incredible amount. The young woman, she considered it purgatory, but the angels were like, it's literally more like a form of a college where they're re-educated, where the soul is actually re-educated, and they are not allowed to leave without an escort. And I went, and the way it was said, I wish I could explain this, how it was said to me, but it's these are not their exact words, but this is how I'm saying it to you because this is how I can understand it to explain to you. If that makes any sense. Anyway, my point is that so because she was doing necromancy versus what, say, for example, government asshats are doing, different ballgame. They have their own version of what will be happening to them on the other side. And they should be scared. They really, honestly should be scared, because some of the things that they have done will have dire and significant consequences on their souls, on those folks. This woman, based on how it was told to me and how it was worded specifically, I was left with the distinct impression that she could be there for 100 to 1,000 years of our timeline. Hey, Robert. Robert says, swirlies in the toilet take a whole different view without bodies. Yes, they very much do. And thank you for the laughter. I appreciate that. Anyway, so point being, Be careful what you do in this life, because it will affect your soul, which will affect your next lifetime. And coming from someone who believes in God, who believes in Jesus, and that's probably going to get people to go scattered, because I've had everything under the sun told to me about, because I am a Christian. I'm not a Catholic. Some would say non-denominational, but I am a very different form of a Christian, and that's fine. It's not fine with a lot of people that I've known for a long time. They're like, well, you're dealing with your abilities and you shouldn't be doing that, and biblical and da 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 da. Fine, that's your belief, but I am not going to consistently for the next 20 fucking years of my life shut my abilities down, because that is not what I know God wants of me. I know what my purpose is on this planet, and it's been made very, very clear to me as to what that is, and it's becoming even more clear as my life goes on and as time goes on. My energy is different right now because I'm still in the grieving stage. I'm still very angry at my friend, to say the very least. There's so much to that. There's just so much to that. And the fact that he is most likely going to now be classified as a true nut job for doing what he did. That just pisses me off even more, because the man had abilities up the wazoo, and I and numerous other people have worked with him, and it's very unfortunate. Not that I'm aware of. That's not how I know it. Woo Riders. I almost said your name, and I'm trying not to. So Woo Riders is saying, question 1 of 2, Nikki, what do you think of people saying Jesus Christ is an alien? No. I don't believe that. Met the man in one of my past lifetimes. I've never talked about that. Talked about it tonight on the S4 Paranormal Bunker, and it brought up a lot of things that it still does, apparently. I almost started crying. Anyway, but then a few years ago, I met him when he came and got me and said, I need to take you to somebody, and I didn't understand what he was talking about, and he took me to a level that is between the living and what some people would call heaven, but it's the other side, and there's like a halfway point. It's way beyond the ethereal. It's beyond anything I've ever experienced prior to that, and we had a nice long talk while we were walking, and he showed me my friend, and it was really comfortable and really nice to be around his energy again. It's been a very, very long time, or what has felt like a very, very long time. Question, part 2. Why do you think God allows negative aliens to abduct humans? Do aliens also have free will, even if they are from a faraway solar system? Do our laws apply to them, or do they have different laws? Thank you, Mythos. I appreciate that immensely. Different laws in their own solar system, and those laws don't apply in our solar system. Okay, now you're dealing with, that's an excellent question, Blue Writers. And I'm going to see if I can get to that before the screen disappears and the questions disappear. Why do you think God allows negative aliens to abduct humans? I have been asking that question for years. I've not gotten a response or an answer to that question, which is incredibly angering, incredibly frustrating. I know there's some sort of reason. I also know that for some of us abductees, we have soul contracts. I know for a fact, for me it is fact, that I've got a soul contract with the ETs who are doing hybridization. There's something that my soul completely and totally believes in with that. There are very specific reasons that I know of that my soul is agreeing to that. However, I do not have a soul contract with the US government, nor the global governments who are doing abductions with ETs as well. I do not have a soul contract with them. And I am livid beyond description about that bullshit. That crap. That if I could legally get away with stating the 3 admirals who are now admirals, they were not admirals when I knew them, military now retired admirals that I know who were part of this, I would out them in a New York fucking minute. But the consequences legally to me would be astronomical. You can see it in my eyes how pissed off I am over that. The abduction via ET of human children for the use as pawns and games and things that they can do and control. Absolutely inexcusable. Now, why that is taking place, not a damn clue. Not a clue. Mythos, I want to jump through the screen and give you a huge hug, Miss Nikki. I know how hard this is for you to, yeah, it's very, talking about my friend and even talking, the one who unalived himself, talking about the fact of my experiences, especially with Jesus. I don't, I wasn't anybody important, let's just put it that way. I was never written about, I was not, wasn't. I just remember being a female, or having female energy. And I remember him being telepathic. And yeah, that's very hard for me to talk about. Because I remember seeing him on the cross. So, do I think he was an ET? No, I do not. I may be wrong on that, but as I know it, he was human, but he was sheer energy. It was energy that Those energy that we can't even comprehend, to say the least. Anyway, so when I say I've had an awful lot of paranormal experiences, I'm not joking when I say that. And I don't, like I said earlier, I don't give two shits if you don't believe me. This is my life. This is how things are with me. I've been a psychic medium since I've been in the frickin' cradle. So it wasn't a crib, it was a cradle. I have memories of my grandmother standing tall. God, she was a gorgeous woman. Tall, thin, beautiful. She should have been oh my God, she should have been a model. But different time period, and men against women, and that. Anyway, all kinds of shit she went through. But thank you, Woo Riders. Positive healing energy for your friend, his family, and you, Nikki, and everyone. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I completely agree, Woo Riders. Woo Riders is saying, my other issue is, why can aliens seed a human woman, then take the child from the woman? That is cruelty on the highest multiversal level. Multiversal level. Yeah, I completely agree. Let me tell you, it did me in when I had my human son. I did not understand why I was so terrified to give birth. And I wasn't afraid to actually give birth. I was afraid, and I never spoke about that to anybody as an abductee. I didn't even remember that I was an abductee then. I had memories. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this to you. I had memories all the way up until adulthood, but to me they were like dreams. And when I realized that they, in my late 40s, that they were not dreams, that they actually had happened, like me running barefoot as, I'm trying to remember how old I was, 7 or 8 years old, barefoot, in a, I was going to say a night dress, in a nightgown, in a, well, I remember it as being, I was in my Holly Hobby nightgown, but I also had I had 2 of these situations, but the one that I remember most is when I'm running over 2 blocks away because I was dropped off in the wrong location by that specific race of ET. And I wasn't dropped off at home in bed. I was dropped off blocks away, and I had to run home. And I remember running to the backyard, through the fence, through the little white fence, down the little stairs, and running because I was so hungry and I had to pee so bad. And hunger, which is weird, but hunger came first, and my mom was growing corn in the backyard. There was a section, an over a 10-foot section, number of rows of corn, and I just went for the corn. I mean, I ate it raw because I was so hungry. I'd been gone so long, or what felt like so long. And when you have memories like that and you've blocked them, or you've made them, how did I get back in the house? I don't remember. Well, that's not true. I remember going through the back door. but I don't remember why it was unlocked. That back door was never unlocked. Never. Not at night. It was never unlocked. I don't remember leaving the house, but I remember running for my life, getting back home, running barefoot, and I remember my feet. What brought the memory back to me was the fact that my feet, when I was running, my feet were hitting the cement and making a specific sound, and that's what fully brought the whole memory. And I went, oh my God, it's real. Well, the biggest one, that memory of being ET abducted, and I shoved that memory down. But the big memory was when I was 4 years old on an ET ship, a real ET ship, not a human built ship that had ETs on it. I've been on those too. So as an ET abductee, I've experienced a great many races, species of ET. And there are soul contracts with ones and no soul contracts with the other. Why? You had asked a very good question, Woo Riders. Why does God allow? I don't know. I honestly, I do not know. There's something about it that we are supposed to be experiencing. I know that. I know that there's something about it to where it's supposed to affect us a specific way, and we are supposed to learn. I also know that in some fashion or form, we are supposed to, I hate this term, wake up. I just don't know what else to call it right now. And so, and become aware. And I have friends, and it's fine with what they believe. I have friends who do not believe in ETs, who do not, that's fine. They're going through their own life moment, their own experiences, their own things. That's what their soul is here to learn. If they so choose to learn more about ETs and all of that, and here's the other side of it. I know, folks, you know why I'm smiling. There's certain people that are in this chat that know why I'm smiling, that have missing time. I highly suspect because of that missing time that they're ET abductees. But can it be proven? No. Do they have marks on their body? Not that they've told me. Me, I have marks on my body. Body. Sorry. When I said bodies, I literally saw my clone body that the U.S. government has created. And yes, clones are real, and they've been doing it for over 30 years. Well, no, I take that back. About 30 years is how I should classify that. I had to think of how long something had happened in my life, and that's the reason why I had to clarify. I was like, wait a minute, that's not right. So yeah, everybody has their own viewpoints, and that's fine. Has no idea what you were talking about, wink wink. Yeah, exactly. So, okay, hang on a second. We're Writers, you're asking lots of questions. Let me see if I can get back in. Also have free will. Okay, so do aliens also have free will? Yes, they do. Even if they are from a faraway solar system, yes, they do. Do our laws apply to them? No. Or do they have different laws in their own solar system? Okay, so that's what I wanted to, that's a very good question. I wanted to get back into that. As I understand it, well, and as I've witnessed, well, that's a whole other subject. Because I've been on the moon, in the moon. The moon is it's basically a star base. It's a military base, basically. Created by ETs, oh my god, so many, long time ago. Why it was created, I honestly, I don't know, and I don't care. I don't give two shits. But I've been, sorry, I'm moving a box that's sitting in front of me. It's been driving me nuts because I need something to drink. Oh, let's see if I have my strength. Well, I've got my strength to even open this right now. Oh, yeah, got it. Okay, there we go. So basically, when I was on the moon, what I now know is the moon. It wasn't somewhere else. There was a group of ETs, and I was instructed to go into this room filled with ETs and to keep my mind completely and utterly and totally blank, because ETs that are telepathic, that communicate telepathically, many of them find it extremely offensive when we self-talk in our own mind, because they can hear everything that we say. And so I was given instructions. I was in specific kind of clothing. Everybody that went in had to be wearing a specific kind of cloth, a specific kind of clothing, and it was a white room. I mean, it was like, well, it reminds me of what you would classify as a sterilized room. And we went in, and I was part of this massive group of ETs. Some of them, most of them looked human. They were not. They're not human. Do not know. Some of them I knew what they were. Some of them I absolutely did not know what they were. And from my impression and from my physical sense in my body, the intuition, all of that, this was a sequestered room. In other words, you walk in, no device, no nothing. It's a sealed room. Nobody outside of that room could hear anything that was going on inside the room. Okay? Not telepathic, nothing. Now, I've never talked about that before. I have talked about this experience before, but I've never talked about that. I've kept that very well locked down, so to speak, until right now. This is very public. So, yeah, in order to answer that question, scroll back up. Do they have their own laws? Yeah. When all of them come together, if they are part of what people call, I don't know, they call it the Galactic Federation. That's not how I know it as. Excuse me, when I first heard R. Keith Andrews state it as the consortium, I went, oh my God, he's right. That's the correct word. And that's how I know it as. The consortium, I just, everything, all the alarm bells went off, and I went, ding, ding, ding. My body, it's just like it rang. I was like, oh my God, that he's correct in that. And that is one of the reasons why I know our Keith Andrews is telling truth, because of my own experiences. There are a lot of things that in this life my soul, I guess, has chosen not to remember unless I hear it. And there are reasons for that, for my own safety's sake, I have come to learn, because I do have a mouth on me and I have a tendency to talk. And if you know what that means, you know. I can keep a secret. Obviously, I mean, I can keep a secret, but it's something that's very difficult. And I don't mean the secret thing. I mean just talking about all of this, because, well, my belief system is that it needs to be talked about. ETs, ET abductees, what the government is doing regarding them, it all needs to be divulged to the public. What is happening on this planet, around this planet, in our galaxy, solar system, outside of it, it all pertains to us. And the governments on this planet, I mean, they're trying to shut everything down. And that's, I get why they're doing it. I don't agree with it. There's a lot of things that need to be talked about. And I think that if we were made aware, there's a slow drip factor, and I talk about this all the time. There's the slow drip factor from Hollywood. Pretty much since time began with movies, there's been a very slow drip factor in numerous different ufology sections. Energy sections, quantum theory, quantum physics. That's, look into the movies. I mean, you'll find a lot of information that is true. I had that validated to me by, oh, I gotta be careful with what I say now. Really freaking careful. There is a friend that I had, worked for the government, high ranking, NDAs up the wazoo, and he and I came across each other, and he thought I was FBI or CIA because of my psychic abilities. And I was like, we eventually formed a friendship. He checked me out privately, hiddenly, in a very specific way that I will not ever say how. And he found out that I was the real deal, and he started trusting me. Now, did he divulge things that could get me put into prison? No. He made sure of that, because he knew I'd eventually talk about things. He's also the one that he and I found out that we were siblings in another lifetime, and we were warriors, to say the least. And when he died in that lifetime, because he was slaughtered in a very specific way, I went on a killing rampage in that lifetime, which I paid for dearly in the next 2 lifetimes. One lifetime after that, I was murdered. Whole family was murdered. Quite viciously, in fact. And so, another lifetime after that, I was in Germany in POW, let's just put it that way. And to this day, I still have issues with that lifetime because of certain things. So why are we experiencing things? Things need to come out. Things need to be talked about. Things need to be experienced. They need to be discussed. That all said, okay, I haven't, so that's the only way that I can, so the ETs, rewriters, they've got their own laws, their own governances. As I understand it, they've been, certain ones have been told to leave us alone, and yet they don't. And yet others have made binding agreements with governments of this planet. That I know is true. Not happy about it. Okay, so let's go back up. Human take child from the woman. Okay, yeah, that's the hybridization program rewriters, and it is cruelty. It is cruelty at the highest multiversal level. I fully agree with that. As somebody who went through a human pregnancy and was terrified to give birth because I was afraid my child was going to be stolen from me. And I'd been a surrogate mother of hybrid children. I was pregnant at 13. They removed the infant at age 14. I was pregnant for 5 months. And this explains why I would hemorrhage. Didn't understand. School didn't understand because it happened usually during school hours. And there's a lot involved in that. There were numerous witnesses, there were nurses and counselors. I can't think of, there's there is a gentleman's name who was a counselor at the junior high that I attended, who used to see me monthly, and he was classified as a counselor. I don't know what his actual, never really did look it up. But I was always in the nurse's office a couple times a month, and because I was doubled over, crying in pain and hemorrhaging, and nobody understood why. And now we all know why. Hello, PCOS, that's what it does to you. But I have a very, very strong belief, based on certain ET knowledge, that the ETs are the ones that are creating PCOS in human women. Can I prove that? No. Would I like to? Yes, I would. If they are not creating it, then it's some form of their involvement. And I believe it has to do with being an abductee and being part of a hybridization program so that they can do certain things. So that all said, I understand it is cruelty. It's I was terrified. My body would not relax. They had to do a C-section on me because of it. And I was terrified somebody was going to literally rip my infant out of my arms the moment I gave birth. And those are not the kind of energy, that's not the kind of hormones that you want running through your body. I didn't understand that at the time. I understand it now. I didn't understand it then. And I didn't talk about that until I think like 4 years ago, something like that. Because it's that important to talk about. When you're an abductee and you're in part of the hybridization program and you are ET hybrid pregnant, as an FYI, those infants, they're telepathic with you. If you didn't know that, you're hearing it now for the first time. Those babies, they are telepathic with you. You may not think so. Especially if you are an overthinker, or especially if you are somebody who does an extensive amount of self-talk. But when you have abilities, you question that. You question that other voice. And especially when you can feel the energy shift in you is different. If you're so busy and so active and you are not paying attention, it's going to go right over your head, way over your head. You're never even going to realize it because you're doing extensive amount of things. So with ETs and the hybridization programs, and there are a number of them. There's not just one or two hybridization programs. Excuse me, there's quite a few of them actually. A number of different races do them, as I understand it. And the one kind that I go through is not, I don't birth the children. The children are removed from me and then incubated, put into a container and incubated, and gestational. They go through this whole, the growth process and all this other stuff. And I think the ones that happens to is because they grow so quickly. I've had infants where I can tell what race they are, what race or species of ET they are by how fast they are growing. I will never say what race of ET my last hybrid infant was because it could really get me into some very serious trouble. That, and I want my kid protected. I want all my kids protected. I become very much mother bear. That's like, you fuck with them, you're gonna fuck with mama. And you don't want to fuck with mama. So, yeah, I get real. I'll get real down and dirty when it comes to my kids. It's like, no. And they are stronger in abilities than I am by far. So think of what I can do, add that probably a couple hundred times more, because ETs, many different kinds of ETs are that strong in their energy. It's kind of frightening what they can do. But yet at the same time, it's natural for them. So, okay, I need to get back in positive human. Okay. What race of NHI was it, Nikki? Do you remember? And also, how many different non-human entities? Is that what you mean? Races have you taken your hybrid children? Have taken your hybrid children, and do you know all the races? I know a huge portion of the races, and no, I'm not going to tell. All living creatures, alien or human, beasts or plant, know right from wrong, but we are all given free will to choose paths and what we do with them. Yeah. Oh, BMW. Habibi? Hello. Hi. I'm sorry I didn't say hello sooner. I apologize. I try to get to everybody and I'm really far. Oh, Tim, thank you. Love you too, my dear friend. Thank you, Tim. I truly believe negative NHI are here to help corrupt humanity to lower negative. Yeah, I do agree with that. Corrupt humanity to lower our spiritual ascension as a whole and weaken our souls because they know the mighty humans are capable of great things. Yeah, I mean, if we did what we were truly capable of doing, the governments on this planet wouldn't stand a chance. So guess what they're trying to control? There would be a lot of things on this planet that would not be happening right now. We can heal ourselves. They don't want that talked about. Specific kind of energy and frequency within ourselves. I did it myself. I was in the process of going blind. I never talked about that until tonight. Talked about it on the S4 Paranormal Bunker. It's the first time I talked about it. I got hit with a direct energy weapon. It was a microwave weapon. And that night I literally started going blind. And I prayed and I sat with a specific kind of energy, and if it had not have been for my last hybrid pregnancy, I would not have known how to do this. And I put my hands, because the soles of our hands go directly to our soul, and I put them directly over my eyes, and I did a specific form of frequency healing. And we can do that. We can heal our bodies. Now, granted, are my eyes where they should be? No. But I'm not blind. I'm not fuzzy-eyed. And I have a feeling that I need to do this again periodically. I think this is going to be one of those things to where I need to do this periodically to help my body heal itself, in different ways. So, you know, I agree. I agree with writers. It's a form of keeping our consciousness and our souls down. Yeah. Okay, the writers. When answering people's questions, and he seems to know. Oh, that's not necessarily true, but I can see why you would think that. We all get into a point to where things get frustrating, and I do too. And there are just times where I don't know how else to say it. It's just like fed up with the rat race, so to speak. And yet everybody has their own experiences and their own opinions and their own belief system. And sometimes when you're in the position that he and I are in, or that our others are in, that are talking, it gets very old after a while, and sometimes very hard. I understand that. It's not easy. But I doubt highly he ever intended any of that. Knowing him, I doubt highly he ever would mean that. So, okay. They live in Jupiter Ascending. Yeah, they live. I've never seen that one, but Jupiter Ascending movies, yes. are pretty spot on with this reality and how things are behind the scenes. Yeah, I would have a tendency to agree with that. I know. To hear you, to have to offer it is that he has 10 million things running through his mind. Yes, thank you. That's exactly, thank you. That's worded so much. Thank you. Okay, so Pacific Northwest Mythos says, I know our Keith Andrews well, and it is not that he doesn't want to hear what you have to offer. It is that he has 10 million things running through his mind at any given time and needs time to process. I fully agree with that. I fully agree with that. But I also know that it's difficult. We all go through our stages to where it's just like, it's like, this again. But you know what? If it needs to be repeated, then it needs to be repeated. Most humans don't remember there are hybrid children. It's like amnesia, but people with abilities, it's a little different. Yeah, what is amnesia? 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 I'm not sure. Interesting. And they had a good in vitro teacher too. Yeah. One of the things that I've learned is ETs are incredibly good at in vitro. Wow, even when I miscarried one of their hybrids, did they know right away? I mean, like minutes, within minutes. And I'm trying to think of how long it was before they came back and tried again. Matter of fact, that's the time I've had 3 hybrid miscarriages. 2 of them in the 1990s, and one of them after 2019 and after. I don't remember the exact year, but it was somewhere around there. And that one I took pictures of because I was like, okay, that is a miscarriage. And I actually, which is really gross to talk about, but I took pictures of it because I was like, nobody's gonna fucking believe me. And I know I'm not posting those. I've got a lot of pictures I'm not posting. That's one of them. Oh shit, I found a picture of myself and I thought I was 7 years old, and I looked back at that picture and I went, oh my god, I got a scar on the chin. That's when I was 4 years old when that happened. Oh my god, that's right around the time that So when I made that realization today, I used the device that I'm on now for the live, and did a cutout of it and put it on a cutout of me at that age and put it on a black screen, and I was going to show it to you tonight. I can't do that because it's still on this device, and I don't know how to still be live at the same time as get it over to my other device so that I can then show it to you from the other device, because I don't know how to do share screen on here and all this other stuff. That's a whole other ballgame. That's different kind of tech than I know how to do on this device. But most humans don't remember their hybrid children. Yeah. Many don't. I mean, it's all in how it comes as dream sequences. A lot of ET abductions are made deliberately to appear like a dream sequence, when in fact it's not. It's all in how the ET, that specific race of ET, is able to access the human brain. And in doing so, they can manipulate the human brain in a specific way. which is kind of frightening when you think about it, because there have been times where I've woken up. Well, I always think of this one specific time when I was on Orcas Island. Orcas Island? No, it was Friday. It was San Juan Island over by Friday Harbor. Well, I was away from Friday. I was in the middle of the island. Anyway, point is that was a few years ago. 2-3, something like that. 2-3 years ago, I was over on San Juan Island, off the coast of Washington State. We were on a family vacation, and excuse me, and I had gone to bed, and I've told the story a number of times. I went to bed, and I was in a guest house on the upper floor. Beautiful house, beautiful surrounding area, large piece of property, and I literally woke up to crunching sound. Well, what was the crunching sound? It was my feet and about 15 other ET abductees walking in the forest, and the crunching sound was dry, not dry leaves, but dry twigs on the ground in the forest, or what I thought was forest. And it's somewhere between 7 and 9 tall, what I call tall whites. They're not, they're a form of a gray, but they're so pasty gray that from 3-4 feet away, they look white. Bald heads, specific kind of, softness. I don't have a problem with the bodies. I have a problem with their faces. I don't have a problem with the eyes. I have a problem with the nose, the mouth. Anyway, the shape of the head I don't give two shits about, but it's the thing. Anyway, they're the ones that do the abduction. They're not the ones that do the sciences. They're the ones that do the abductions. Because they can control the brain. I woke up fully clothed, in my shoes, in my coat, and I had gone to bed in pajamas, shorts and pajama top, pair of socks. Woke up in a forest, crunching, walking across dry twigs, very dry twigs, which is weird because it was cold night. And yeah, and I was not a happy camper for that one. I literally woke up, couldn't move my head, couldn't move my body, but I could move my eyes. I was back and forth with my eyes looking all around. I was looking ahead. And when I realized, I started screaming. I was screaming in my head because I knew the others could hear me. And I was screaming, "Wake up! Wake up!" And they had too hard of a control on the group of humans. Just too hard of a control. And the next thing I know, I'm looking up with my eyes like this, and I see a bright light. And that's the last thing I heard. And I got told to shut my mouth, which is my story, but in the sunshine, I get told to shut the fuck up. And I look up, I see the white light, and it comes down like this over us on silver color. Anyway, the point is that it was this really bright white light, and that's the last thing I remember. It literally, the white light had come down. It hadn't completely gone to the ground yet before I blacked out, before I woke up. and I was knocked out. And yeah, it was about 2.5, maybe 3 feet off the ground was the white light. And I remember getting told to essentially shut the fuck up. And they locked complete control. That's essentially what happened. They locked complete control over my brain and shut me down. I mean, we were like automatons, little mindless automatons. That's what pisses me off. You want to know what pisses me off? That's the kind of shit that pisses me off. You want to take me, allow me to be conscious, allow me to remember on board ship, allow me to, and I think it probably would have happened when I was 7 years old, and I begged and pleaded, and I had this one incident with an ET, reptilian ET, I brought home, who was completely cloaked. And because I begged and pleaded, she finally relented, and I begged and pleaded for a long time. 7-year-old, hello, come on. That's what kids do. You know? And basically, that was it. She showed me herself, and I started screaming, monster, monster. That's a whole other story, but point being, now I'm to the point to where it's like, if you're gonna walk into my home, I want to fucking know you're here. Pardon my language. I do apologize for the F-bombs. There's probably going to be a lot of them. I am tired. I am working on being okay. Sometimes that takes a little bit longer than it does. February 5th I lost my mom, and on the 21st of last month I lost my friend. Close friend, in fact. Very close friend. So close, in fact, he used to call me the equivalent to a second mother. His biological dad, his adoptive mother, and I did not get along because I'm a different kind of Christian. And she was, you have abilities, everything is demons. That was both her and her husband, and that's how they raised their son. And anytime he talked about his abilities, you're demonic, you're a demon, it's this, it's that, it's to the point to where he got classified as something that he wasn't because of it. Because Mommy and Daddy took complete control over everything. And I do mean everything. And I take great initiative in that. Do I think that he did? Was right? Absolutely. Which is one of the reasons why I wanted to go into the underside and beat his ass. And I've seen prime angels before. I can honestly say I've always seen the feet, the robes, the legs of a prime angel. I've never seen the hands before until that day. 21st of June, I saw the hand of a prime angel. Actually, it was my hands, but it was the biggest first hand came down into my chakra system so hard because I was in the process of going and kicking his ass. I was livid. And they're like, And I went, I didn't do okay. Did not do okay. Still not okay. He's got consequences. I have not seen him. And, well, I take that back. Different story. Yesterday, I'm trying to think of what time it was. So, so probably around 7:30 yesterday morning, or Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning. Just felt him, stopped by, never, I think he tried to say hello, but I think he was prevented from saying hello. He wasn't surrounded by angels, but I know that he had somebody who was controlling him. And not some evil entity or anything like that. I think he had an angel. I felt the presence of a hierarchy around him. Well, then you tell me what the hell it was, because I don't. All I know is that it felt like a hierarchy. Okay, I'm being yapped at right now. It felt like a hierarchy to me. And the interesting thing is that he would talk with us, those of us who knew his abilities. He would talk to us about the different beings and beings, INGs, and entities that he knew, that I knew. And I know that when a stranger comes into the mix to read all of the information, that information is going to make that person look like they're start breaking into this kind of not. They have abilities and they're dealing with specific entities, specific beings, specific. And my friend was not a fan of PTs, let's just put it that way. So, I don't know. That's the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight was be very careful how you, if you've got kids who have, or new kids who have abilities, be very careful in what you're teaching them, especially when you have a situation like, and I don't, biological or adopted, I don't give two shits. As long as there's love in the family, and there was no love in this family whatsoever. In my opinion, they're a necessity, but that's beside the point. And I've told the other side, don't you ever let his adopted mother come to me. Don't ever. With how she treated this human, I'll smack the shit out of her. Mother to mother, I'm like, bring it, because I will. I'll smack the living shit out of her. To do what she did to another person, not. So yeah, I take great issue with that. And the other side knows that, and they're keeping her far away from me, which is good, because I'm pissed royal, but I'm also very pissed at him. He knows that I still love him and I still care about him and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm not cool with looking down on that. Very, very angry. And it's kicked in my anger. It's kicked in my emotion. It's kicked in anger about how people are treated, whether you are a psychic or a medium or intuitive of any kind. It really has kicked in my anger about how people are treated and how we talk to each other, how we constantly dismiss each other about different things. I'm not putting up with shit anymore. I'm just not. You come at me with stuff, I will bite back. And if it's not worth my time and energy, whether that's for personal reasons or whether that's for other reasons, then I won't even bother. I'll turn around and walk away, because it's either you're not worth it or my time's not worth it, or the subject is not worth it because I already know that you're not willing to even have a decent conversation. There's a spider right here. Ouch. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't tell. Anyway, spiders. Anyhow, and yes, you can have an agreement with spiders. Just to FYI. As long as you have the energy and you know how to deal with it. You can have an agreement with them. Which is interesting. Because I never knew that until about 4 years ago. Which brings up a whole nother subject. Did you know there are 15-foot spiders? Not on this planet. Did you know that the governments of this planet are mining on other planets and they're unaliving the indigenous species of the planet to access the minerals? That little bit of information might just get me into some serious trouble for speaking it out loud. Put it out on my Facebook page already. Didn't make that public, but it is public once it enters, once something's posted. So my friends can see it. But yeah, there are 12 to 15-foot spiders on different planets and in the US because doing stuff that should. It's not just US government, it's global government. So when I think about, there's something else to think about. How does surplus food, supplies, snacks, all get to moon base or the Mars base? Or Venus? Or the base that's beyond Neptune? How it's transported. Think about that one. Think about how it's transported. There's a lot of manufacturing companies that I actually remember when I was on Mars. And I don't, like I said, if you don't believe me, I know people that do believe me. It's fine. But I know what I remember. And I have people who will recognize me. Not from this size, because I was not this size. That's the other thing that I just realized. I don't know, well, it's something I've always known, but it didn't really hit me until the last few weeks. And that is that when the governments make a cloned body, they take all the health issues out of it. All the problematic health issues they take out of it. Because when I've woken up in one of the 3 different cloned bodies that they made of me without my permission. Because, hello, they will steal the genetics, they'll steal your genetics. And then make a clone out of it. Or the ETs make a clone out of it. Anyway, that's a whole other subject. But I realized anytime I've been in that body, my body has been utterly, totally, completely well and healthy, very physically fit, very active, no medical issues whatsoever, and every one of my abilities are tenfold. No joke. It's like my abilities are released. Full abilities are released. Or most of them are released. That's been a hell of an eye-opener. That's the other thing I talked about. Think about how you talk to your kids, how you teach your kids. Remember, there is a lot of bigotry on this planet to shut information down from us humans. A lot of fear mongering. And keep in mind that not all human sciences are valid. Where we think they are, and we have relied on them for a long time. And our human sciences are not all that's cracked up to be. ET science, for the most part, depending upon the race, species of ET, they are just really freaking incredible. The fact that certain races can create clones, the fact that they can genetically splice and dice, quote unquote, human emotions back into an embryo. That was a hell of a mind bender for me when I heard that. When I heard that from ET. And that truly, it wasn't a true reminder. Something to think about. If they're capable of doing those kind of genetics, that kind of science, and the science of manipulating propulsion to where in 4 hours' time they can cross the galaxy, the entire galaxy, to come to an emergency to you, that speaks volumes as to how fast they can work. When it would take us damn near a lifetime to cross it, in how we think of our human sciences. Think about that. The hell of a mind bender when you realize that. And there's a few folks that I know that are deep science oriented. Think about that, folks. Think about how incredible that is to us. I've got somebody who has a very difficult time with that, and I understand that. I've talked about this earlier tonight. I still have a difficult time, nowhere near as bad as it was when I first heard this. But I had an ET tell me to my face, 2,500 years old. $1,200, $1,500, 1,000. I mean, I was like, okay, 1,000. It's pushing a little for me. 2,500. Lost my overwhelming shit mind over that one. I couldn't fathom. That's like living an eternity in my eyes and in my opinion. So think about that for a moment. Each race of ET lives to a different age level, or approximate age level. I know wannabes, that's on a different level. Those are they want to be a demon, but they can't quite get there yet. They take millennia, multiple millennia to become a true demon because they're constantly in practice. Now that's what I've learned firsthand. But the point is, think about the human technology versus ET technology. Now I'm starting to go. It looks gross, but tastes really good. Little concoction. It's not good. The rest of my body. Keep the swelling from my legs down on a regular basis. So, speaking of which, if you're still on here, dear, and those, private message me to remind you to tell you what I need to tell you about this little concoction, because it will help you as well. I couldn't understand it, but anyway. And I know you've got a lot of different things, but similar to I do, so we'll have a conversation. But I don't know, it's a possibility. So just something for you to look at. Anyhow, so regarding ETs, yeah, there are lots of different kinds. I wish I knew the female, the woman ET with the head flaps. I wish I knew what race she was. She was the one with the head flaps. That was how she breathed. It was from the top of her head. God, she was beautiful. The most beautiful eyes, and the energy from her. I don't think I'll ever forget that. I pray I don't, because she really was beautiful. Just about that. She's sweet, like in my face. All messages. Hey, Chris. See, I didn't see that. Talk to you later. Yeah, you can. Okay. Amnesia. See, I wasn't getting all these messages. Damn it. Okay. How old were you when you realized all your abilities as a whole? Oh my God. 48, I think. Okay, answer to that question, I think I was 48. Anchor Haven, hello. I'm sorry I missed saying hello to you. Those three white things. The mouth is creepy. Yes, I totally agree with this. Chris, oh, wow. Things go well with you. Okay. I have good friends. I love them very dearly. Okay, so anyhow, God, see, this is, I'm still adjusting to this, folks, so I do apologize for not, getting to these and figuring that out sooner. I do apologize on this one. Anyway, this is why I usually have this thing up so I can actually see that, but it didn't stating this time. I don't even know how. Let's see if I can call it up. Yes. Aha! Okay. Okay, so, if you've got questions, ask away. I'm trying to think of anything else that I really wanted to talk about tonight. Just know that regarding the unaliving himself, you have soul consequences, and if you've done some horrific things and then do it, you're going to have a whole hell of a lot more problems. Second here. Sorry about that. Else. Anyhow, so know that if you do a lot of horrific things, there are soul consequences on the other side for you. I get taught an awful lot during all of this kind of work. There have been a number of people that I've worked with who know how I am, how I get during some of my energy work, and how protective I become of the people that I'm working with. We watch each other's backs for a damn good reason. There was a job that there were five of us on. And unfortunately, one of the people that was on that job is no longer living. He's the one who liked himself. And but there were a total of five of us on this job, and we had an audience, and it was an audience that was incredible. I haven't talked about this one in a very, very long time. We literally had, it was like being in a Roman amphitheater. It's like we were doing our energy, it was more than just energy work. That specific job wiped me out for about a week and a half. And I learned a lot because of that job. And every one of us had very specific things to watch out for. We had angels watching out. We had actually, we had God himself watching out on that one. That was quite the mind bender. I couldn't even. I still have a hard time fathoming that. But I knew he was there, and he was also the one that was like, no, Nikki, this is what you have to do. And I didn't want to do a specific task, and I got told explicitly by him that this is what we had to do. And this doesn't have anything to do with ETs. This is totally to do with energy work and psychic medium and work and all of that. Five-person team. It was quite the job. And when you have quite a job, big job like that, you will gain quite an audience. And we had a lot of audience members. All different kinds of hierarchies. God himself periodically popped in and out. Or source, however you want to call him, I don't care. I know who he is, what his energy feels like. It's true energy. Love energy. And He had a specific way of doing it because I didn't want to do a certain job. Because I didn't want to be the responsible party. And it was something that it had to be done for me, and I knew why. He pissed me off even more. It had to do with soul contract. That doesn't always get talked about. Soul contracts between you and God, or between you and another person. It has to be completed before the final thing is done. It's how it's promised. Anyway, yeah, that was quite the mess. It was quite the mess. But it was a hell of a learning experience for everyone involved with that energy work. And other than that time, there was only one other time where I've seen so many hierarchies in my entire lifetime, this specific lifetime. And it was pretty astronomical. I mean, it was row after row after row, and we were like, the only way I can think of it is as a Roman amphitheater. That's how it reminded me of. But another way to think of it is a medical, surgical viewing, but with row after row after row after row of seats. There were so many hierarchies that were like sitting in the seats that I could see, and then there were prime angels surrounding that, what I can only classify as a Colosseum. There were, other kinds of angels around. We even had the demon dogs, because the demon dogs were helping to deal with demonic things. And they were on, we had a lot of dogs at the time. A lot of demon dogs at the time. I don't know what else to call them. It's interesting that somebody tonight on the Escort Paranormal Bunker commented on what does a naked bear look like, and I'm like, I didn't say it, but I almost did. They look very much like a demon dog, a very small version of the demon dog. Demon dogs had, I don't think I've got my, sure I don't, but do I have to? Sorry folks, looking for my tape measure. Look, we have it here. I thought I might have. But nope, I don't have the little one. The head going across, like from ear, no, I can't even say, side to side is how I suppose I should say that. About 14 inches. Oh my god, that's not good. Just a second, let me see. Thanks, little Cam. Sounding like I'm underwater for the last 30 minutes. Okay, tell me if the sound sounds any better. Is that better? Any better? Because I don't like it when my sound is wonky. That's not okay. Little Cam, whoever else is watching, please let me know if I still sound like underwater, because that's not okay. Let me know in chat, please. No, it's like someone hacked your stream. Oh, that's fun. That would not surprise me one freaking bit. Okay. Okay, hang on. Let's try this. Okay, that's going to take a moment. Undone that. Do this. Let's see. Yeah, we're at 100. Okay. Yes, you still sound like you were coming live from a fish tank. Oh, that's better. Okay. That is better. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, hopefully that got taken care of. God, yeah, you guys got to tell me that if it gets that bad. Okay, well, that is from being plugged in. Must mean that it finally hit 100%. So I do apologize immensely. I will make note of that in the broadcast description when I go to do that. I've learned how YouTube does stuff, and I still haven't figured out how to deal with this section of it. When I go live from this device, it's fine, but when I shut it down, it literally shuts down to where it locks the viewing of this out. And so then I have to get on the computer and make it so that everybody can see it and hear it. I don't know how to get away from doing that so that it can just stay like it's supposed to. I don't even know what the hell those are. I'm kind of afraid to click on this. See, what does it say? Green screen. Oh my god, no. Oh my god, no. No, I don't want green screen on. How do you undo green screen? Highlight to save your channel as unlisted video. Whoa, what? No, don't retouch. Retouch off. Okay. Oh, I don't know how to get it back off again. Now we got the damn green screen. Well, live and learn. Wow. How do you undo that? Seriously, how? Green screen. Yes, there. Okay. Ha ha ha. Working it out. God. That was awful. Well, now I know. Live and learn. Everything's an experience. Anyway, so the ET stuff, the past lifetimes, souls, soul contracts. You can have a soul contract with a lot of different people, a lot of different beings, a lot of different entities. Be careful who you choose to have a soul contract with. I have unexpectedly been told that somebody that I used to know is having quite significant consequences, and I don't even give a shit in even knowing this. But the fact, yet at the same time, I'm happy that they're finally having consequences. It's called karma. For a lot of the horrible things that they've done. And this was somebody that used to be in my life, and when I found out what they were doing, I'm like, nope, I'm out. Turned around and walked away. And it was bad. The things that they were doing, it was really, really freaking bad. And there are people like that in our world, on this planet, and there are quite a few people, and it's like, you do not need to choose darkness over because you think it's going to give you what you want. Over other things, other situations. Because when you do that, you're not just hurting you. You're not just hurting your soul. You're screwing with your future lifetimes. You You may get put into a lifetime that you never expected to make things even harder for you. Excuse me. It can make things tough, and you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that for your lifetime. You want to make things not easy, but you want to live, you want to learn, you want to go through things, but at the same time, you don't want things to be so horrific. You don't want things to be horrific at all. So be very careful who you have in your life. Be very careful if they're gaslighting you every day of your life. Do you then shut down? Do you turn around and walk away? Are you capable of being able to walk away, to leave? Are you willing to, or are you financially able to? There are things that happen in souls' lifetimes. There are contracts that come to an end. You have to think about all of that. You have to think about, and if you choose not to, you choose not to think about it. You choose not to act on any of it. You want to let things play out, well, that's fine. That's on you. There are choices. There are actions. If you do not do any action, don't fucking expect to receive things. If you are inactive, you're expecting certain situations to go certain ways, you might want to rethink that, because you have to actually, if you want something to happen, you actually have to make it happen for yourself. And that means doing certain things. It's not just about taking care of you. It's also about taking care of the situations that you have in your life. It's also about, and it's not just about, living life. No, it's about living and learning. And if you can't handle that, then you might want to seek counseling, because there are things that need to be dealt with. There are issues in one's life that apparently need to be dealt with. And that's not easy. And if that's something that you financially cannot afford, then seek out that's a good question, Little Kim. Just a second. Seek out self-help books. Find people that, which is taking action. It's for the betterment of you. If you're just going to sit around and twiddle your thumbs and go, oh, poor me, then what are you doing? Nothing. You have to take action to make things happen. True. I agree, Chris. Chris is saying sometimes the only way to learn is when you take your power back and walk away. Very true. Very, very true. A Little Cam is saying, so necromancy is considered demonic, or what exactly is bad about it? Necromancy is if the person is doing true necromancy. We're talking full on blood magic. We are talking full on, it goes against It's like a God's law type of situation. It's a form of, some people would say it's not a form of evil. I am one that says it is a form of evil because of what I have seen. Now, does that mean that all magic is that way? No, absolutely not. It's how the person is choosing to use their abilities and that magic, and which entities they've aligned themselves with. That's the other side to this. Because usually in necromancy, the person is aligning themselves with something that is not so nice. Yeah. Chris, a lot of the time learned by taking that power you gave them back. Yeah. Chris, necromancy is opening a whole new level of karma for what they do using the dead. Yeah. You're not just talking blood magic. And in some of that, you're dealing with living animals, bleeding them. In some of that, you're unaliving them. And using their body parts in the magic. Forms of magic. You're usually not calling on God. You're usually calling on some other entity, usually of the not so nice side. And yeah, it's violating their soul contracts, definitely. I agree, Chris. It goes against the love and light of God, basically. It goes against the love and light of what some would call the universe. It's not something it's not a form of energy you want to be screwing with. And unfortunately, the things that are whispered about or openly talked about regarding how certain people became in power or how certain industries celebrityized industries, they're violating different laws, different spiritual laws, and it's a big deal that will have really significant and dire consequences on that individual soul. So yeah, it's a lot of times necromancy is really, it's used for very evil purposes. I have yet to hear of anything positive. I've heard people that have stated that they were a necromancer, publicly stated on live broadcast shows that have since been deleted when the host found out. Oh my God, that's what that means? They removed, they were like, no, I don't want any, yeah, it was a good interview, but nope, I don't want this, any part of this. Yeah, simple, Chris says, simple rule of any form of magic, there is always a price to pay for anything you do, good or bad, correct? And it's the same way with living life. There are consequences to everything you do. Natural consequences. Well, natural consequences in this case, dealing with necromancy, it's the big deal. It's a really big deal. And in my personal opinion, this is not going to go over well, but in my personal opinion, there are certain things that I do think government should be involved in, and that's one of them. Because I have very strong opinions and beliefs about it because of what my soul did hundreds of lifetimes ago. There are things that I remember doing that I cringe at it now. And I'm a completely different person now because of all the different lifetimes I've had to learn and learn the hard way. That's not what you do. You have dire consequences and you don't get to come back right away. Not only do you not get to come back, you get to go to a form of sanctioned prison college. How else do you want to call that? On the other side, and that's how I know it. I know other psychics, other mediums who are like, that's not what I know. And I'm like, that's fine, but this is what I know. This is what I've seen. This is what I have experienced. So that's fine. Everybody has their own opinions. Everybody has their own experiences. And I'm simply telling you mine. Whether you choose to look at it and believe it or not, that's totally up to you. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem if you come at me and get real nasty with me, because as those that are in my chat right now know, I will not put up with that. And I have been known, and I hate doing it, but I have been known to block people on here. And there's 3 people. 2. I think it's 3. 3 people that I have blocked on this account because they are so vile in everything they say. And I do mean everything. And it's just like, whoa, okay. No, I don't want that person in on any of my lives or making any kind of comments or I mean, like, wow, just rough stuff. So anyway, sorry, I'm just double checking something. Yeah, there's costs. There's costs for what you do. It's really difficult, and you've got to know. You've got to pay attention. And a lot of people won't do that. So dealing with energy work or ETs or targeted individuals due to government or for whatever reason, because there's so many reasons out there, you got to be careful. You got to be careful in what you do and what you say. And I have a belief system to where there are things that need to be talked about publicly, not just talked about in private groups or between 3 people. I was going to say a threesome, but between 3 people or between 2 people, or on a private video call with a number of people. These are things that need to be talked about. They really do need to be talked about. And it, may be difficult to talk about, but they do need to be discussed. It's like that book. That's why I got targeted for that goddamn fucking book. So, government book when I read when I was 17 or 18 years old, that I only found out this year from a real Men in Black individual, that it was a conglomerate that got their hands, a corporate conglomerate, government contractor, was most likely the ones who got their hands on all the documents from the government and made copies and then turned it into a book, and there you go. And then the book I read was one of 500. So they made numerous copies. And those copies went to, what are known as the collectors, a group of multi-million billionaires. And you think about that one. That's pretty invasive. So, and I've always said, so the government, who are you going to murder? Because that's what they do. They don't want something out. They find a way around, and if they can't find a way around, bye-bye in an auto accident, or bye-bye from a heart attack, and that's why I made the statement a month and a half ago that I wasn't suicidal. Because if something happens to me, you better damn well believe it was not by my hands. Because I have a lot to say. Allegedly. Yes, correct, Chris. Allegedly. That's what they will do. Yeah. He's right. I didn't use my words right. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, allegedly that's what they will do. So, yeah, it's how you look at situations to where, hello, if anything happens to you, I will happily give some names. Oh, yes, please. Yeah. Yeah, we need to have a chat. Because I could name names. I could really name names, and they don't want me doing that. And the interesting thing is that I oh, interesting, got a helicopter going overhead. Ooh, and that puppy's loaded. Oh, I don't know if it's the metal. I can't tell if that's the airlift or if that's one of the... No, I think that's the airlift. Engine sounds different. If anything happens to you, I will happily give some names. I love that. Thank you. Tori Smith was one who was a nut, and he was taken away from, yeah. T-O-R-Y, yeah, Tori. I'm not wearing my glasses, so yeah, I'm having a hard time reading that. Now that's interesting. That did not pop up. Hey, Amy. Lil Cam, your message didn't pop up on my other... I wonder why. That's got me... Huh. What's that? View channel. Quality. Stats for nerd. Live chat. Chat filter. Okay. There we go. That's interesting. It didn't pop up on that. Alright, anyway. Excuse me. Taken away from the government. Yeah. Yeah, it gets pretty difficult. There have been people, that's one of the things that my friend, the military friend that, government military, whatever you want to call him, my loved one who is now on the other side, who is still extremely protective of me, he confirmed. He's like, oh yeah, they do it all the time. It's nothing new. It's part of government. You're kidding me. I'm not reading that out loud though, Cam, but thank you for the info. I thought he was on other channels. I didn't realize they created a channel. I thought they were on numerous other people's channels. That's interesting. Anyhow, so yeah, there's just... Oh, that's what I was going to say. When I read, if anything happens to, I will happily give some names. What I was going to say is I've already psychically seen, to my shock, awe, and almost horror. Yes. Hang on a second. Yes. Answer to that question. And unfortunately, I can't respond to it in text. Anyway, what the hell was I going to say? Oh, so I've already seen that I'm going to be in front of government talking. I've already seen it. I've been shown it repeatedly. More than 3 times, in fact, different ways. Oh, thank you. That's what was driving me nuts. Yeah, see, they've got different engines. I can tell by the engine sound. And they're fully loaded. That helicopter was fully fucking loaded. And it's interesting because I did not really... I've always known helicopter sounds, and I've never understood why. And it wasn't until I started having flashback memories of SSP that I started understanding that. SSP as a pilot. I still have body memories of flipping switches and turning things on, and it's like I can still feel where things are supposed to go and how I'm supposed to fly as a pilot, and that is just mind-boggling to me. So yeah, because it didn't sound like... Usually the military birds, they sound like the military helicopters, they sound mechanical, automatic, empty. There's a specific tonal sound to them that I recognize. And mechanical, there's a specific reason I say mechanical, and I don't know how else to explain it. But basically it really comes down to the rotors on top, the blades on top, and the engine. And then the rest of it comes into play for me. So, and I never would have put any of that together, why I know that so well. Well, it's because I used to fly in my 30s. I used to fly, 30s and early 40s, I used to fly a transport. It was called a transport vehicle. It's a version of a helicopter, but it's a version of a helicopter that can go out in space. It can be in space. It reminds me of what they used to call the puddle jumpers on what's the TV show? Stargate Atlantis. They don't look anything like that. Not at all. But that's what it reminds me of. You can go from planet to planet, but not long distance, not real long distances with it. And I have memories. I have actually recent memories which just freaked me out no end, and this is why I say 12 and 15-foot spiders are real, because they are on other planets. And they're fighting for their lives, and they're being unalived by human governments for the minerals on those planets. And so I'm being recognized as a pilot, which just freaks me out no end. And then I'm like, I get validated by that fact, because I've been called the chocolate lady. I've been called, oh, you're the lady with the little Hershey's Kisses, or not Hershey's Kisses, Hershey's, little mini Hershey's bars and things like that. And that body, that clone body, was very thin, very svelte, giant tits. God. Which is how I would have been. I still got gigantic breasts, but the thing is that in that clone body, I mean, I was svelte. I was like, boom, then, and very muscular, very, very muscular, very strong. And I honestly didn't believe about the spiders until I saw somebody had done an SSP video. They had created an AI video, and they had spiders chasing 2 humans on foot in the video, and I lost my shit. I was not okay. I went, I've seen that, oh my God. And then all of a sudden I started having these flashbacks. And flashbacks of being a pilot and being on that planet and getting the men and women off the planet and being hit by one of the spiders as we're leaving, and we start to spin, and I got us into a specific kind of rotation at a different angle and position, and I got us out of it, and it saved our lives. I don't remember how many people were in the back. I do not remember. I just remember there was a boatload of people in the back. I remember there was that incident, and I also remember another incident. And then I started remembering why. And it's because that planet has specific minerals, and that species of ET are normally friendly until you start stealing from their planet. And then they're trying to protect themselves, and they're trying to protect their planet. And I still can't even fathom that what I'm remembering is real. It's so, I mean, I'm used to ETs. I'm used to a lot of different kinds of ETs. As an ET abductee, I remember a lot of different races and species of ET. This went way beyond what I was like, oh my God, is this a false memory? And then I was like, no, because of how this is hitting, this is how it's hitting. I know the, how do I say this? I know the difference between a fake memory and a real memory. And it's all in how it hits me. I don't know how else to say it. And as an ET abductee who is naturally remembering without hypnosis, though I truly believe if you need to do hypnosis, The reason I'm not doing hypnosis is solely because I have been psychically shown that I will be in front of some kind of congressional hearing people years from now talking about what I remember and what I know. Now, granted, is this 20 years from now? Is this 30 years from now? If it's 30 years from now, I'll be in my 80s. 57 right now. I'll be in my 80s. So, and I can't even fathom that. But my point is that these are things that are happening. This is what the global governments are doing. And we need to take a stand and say, hey, this is happening. And so for me to choose not to do hypnosis and to remember these things naturally is a really big deal. And not only has my own mind and the little kid in me told me, you have to open those doors to remember, you will remember. You want to remember, you will remember. Long before I ever said that to anybody, I had other psychics that I know tell me that. And they're like, you have to walk through that door. I'm like, I've been walking through bits of that door periodically because there's only so much I can handle. Well, when you've been ET abducted your entire life, and I do mean we're talking from birth, but what I remember is from 3 and 4 years old being ET abducted. But I know intuitively that I've been, that my mother was abducted. I know she was. I've been told that she was. I remember seeing my mother. There's a memory when I was 5 years old, and we were taken straight in on I-5, southbound I-5 in the mountains of Oregon before you travel into California. And Mom used to call the van that we were in the Green Machine or Big Bertha. It was the 1970s, early 1970s. And so yeah, it's just being an ET abductee and having memories like that. And then having memories to where other people that were part of SSP are remembering you as their pilot when your body is skinny mini, big tits, but skinny mini body, no health problems, no nothing, and yet you're having flashback memories of 12 and 15-foot spiders. I still can't, I can't even, I'm having as difficult a time with that as I have with having an ET tell me to my face, 2,500 years old, that they lived at 2,500 years old. I still can't fathom. I still can't. How do you wrap your mind around that? That's like living for eternity in my mind. I can't even. How do you correlate that with our human lives? You know, many people are living into their 90s, hell, even their hundreds. And now with med beds being out, how much longer? There are monks. There are people in, oh God, I had the name of the country and now it's gone. I kept getting the name of the country. excuse me, there are people in certain countries where they live to close to 120 years old. And it's because of how they choose to live their lives and their energy and what they do with their brain and their soul energy. We can do that. They heal themselves. We can do that. We have to be taught all over again. And that's the thing. Who's willing to do the teaching? Who are we willing to learn it from? Where's it going to come from? You know, those are some pretty big questions. But the thank you, Chris, for saying this, the alleged unaliving by government, yeah, it happens. It's been happening for a long time. I've had confirmation of that, not only by MIB, by a legitimate MIB, man in black, and by a friend who, very high rank, very well-known individual. And he kept me secret. I'm not keeping it secret anymore. I'm just not saying who he is. Because government can probably fucking figure it out. And if they can't, then you're being fucking stupid. You really are. Because it should be quite easy to figure out for you. Especially with the kind of technology you've got and the kind of search that you could be doing and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I was kept very well hidden for a very, very long time from this person's trying to figure out the right word. People he knew. That's how I'm going to say that. I really want to say something else, but I don't dare. So, and he's the one who told me that you would be shocked about what we can do. And I'm like, no, actually I wouldn't. And he was like, yeah, Nikki, you really would. And he was like, I cannot tell you certain things, but I can reference certain movies. And I can reference certain things. And there's something I really want to say, and I can't say it because it would really get me into some very serious trouble. Very serious trouble. So, you know, that's something I can never publicly state. There's only one person on this planet knows. And I don't think he'd ever say anything. So, quite honestly. Although I might be surprised. I don't know. Betrayal has been prevalent in my life, so, you know, nothing would surprise me anymore nowadays. So, that's ET's energy work. 2 hours and almost 49 minutes. 2 hours, 40 minutes into this. We hit past lifetimes. We dealt with the ETs. We talked about SSP. I did say past lives already. Energy work. Rewriters. Anchor Haven. Didn't know you have been. Oh, you must be scrolling, rewriters. They were here a while back. I don't know if they're still here, though. So, yeah. Okay. So, I'm double checking some stuff right now. Whoops. Okay. Anyhow, really, I shouldn't have it like that, so I'm looking down. I should have it like this, so I'm actually looking at. There we go. Okay. Anyhow, anybody got any questions? I mean, Blue Riders, you had a hell of a lot of questions earlier. Do you have any more? You're asking some really good questions about God, about ETs, about hybrids. Most of you know that I've got over 30 hybrid children. I've known some people to actually tell me that's bullshit. Say that to my kids. Especially my last one. My last one will put your... You'd be standing up, you'd be sitting right flat out on the ground. They wouldn't even have to touch you. So, yeah. Yeah, they start, I'm 57, my last hybrid pregnancy, they took him in January. And there are ET abductees, human women who have Blue Riders, that's funny, who have a different experience than I do. Their experience is where they birth the children. I don't have that experience. Mine is where they, in my opinion, steal the kid. But at the same point, it's part of the agreement. Do I remember the agreement, the exact contract? No. The ET hybridization contract? No, I don't. The soul contract? No. I don't remember the whole thing. I just know that it's there, that I've got it, and that I recently revamped it with them because there was something I wanted. I was like, okay, we're going to play this game. I want something. I'm doing something for you. Now it's my turn. And they abided by that. And by abiding by that, they allowed this last pregnancy. They allowed teaching. They allowed very specific things with me. And they also worked on my body in a specific way. And not only that, they did a few other things on my behalf. So I have no problem with that. None whatsoever. If I'm going to be used, I'm going to get a little something out of it too. And I'm getting warned right now. I don't think that's normal, in the sense of, my foot just popped. I don't think it's normal that they do that. For whatever reason, they're doing it for me. And I don't know why. I know abductees, women abductees who are surrogate mothers of hybrid children, where they have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. It's not unheard of to have 30. There are women who've had numerous pregnancies. Now, I've had 3 miscarriages. I've had 3 hybrid miscarriages that I am consciously aware of. 2 in the 1990s, and shut up, stomach. And 1 in shortly after 2019. And You know when your body doesn't do stuff. Oh, I can't remember what NHI stands for, sweetie. You gotta say that. NHI say if there are any other planets that have humans living on them in the vastness of creation, and if so, is their society similar to ours, and how advanced are they? Great question. Non-human intelligence, thank you. Appreciate that. Non-human intelligence, the ETs, sorry, starting to get a headache. I think it's because I need to eat again. Which that rather sucks, because I really don't want to eat. Okay, in answer to your question, yes, I have seen, depends on how you word this, there's a city inside of Mars. I know, I do not remember, but I know, now that I remember, that I can describe the cities and stuff, yes. There are ETs living there, and there are humans living there, and there are interspecies relations. How do you say that? There are married partners of different races. Okay. There are families of different races, different species. City, it's numerous cities, but it's one giant city. It's like subsections of it. Anyway, yes, humans have a section inside Mars already, which is why it is so enormously laughable about Elon Musk. It's just, I find it incredibly, ridiculously funny because of him. Oh yes, we're gonna build on Mars. Are you fucking crazy? You're already inside Mars, idiot. You're a smart human being. But really? I'm sorry, Mr. Musk. That is not you need to look into certain Aerosmith. Oh my god. Oh my god, I can't even speak now. Not aeronautical. What the frick is the word I'm looking for? Aerospace industry. 4 or 5 main companies. There's one that starts with the letter R. I will not speak on this channel for damn good reason, but sir, there's one that starts with the letter R, ends with an N. You need to look into them because they're the ones that put us on that map on Mars. Okay, buddy boy? You want to really delve into this? You want to really delve into government and really get into the nitty-gritty? You want to be let in? I mean, really let in? You get involved with them. But then, how corrupted are you going to be? Think about that. Living on them in the vastness of, so are there society? Yeah, similar societies are somewhat similar to ours, and they are very advanced. Very freaking advanced. I don't even know how to explain how advanced they are. The things I've seen, the vehicles I've been in, the ones that I've piloted, wow, just incredible. Okay, Amy, I can't imagine any ET race keep... Oh, before I get back into that, Amy, hang on a second. So Woo Riders. Mars, I know, has been there. Venus, I know of because one of my hybrid children told me that. Neptune, the other side of Neptune, because my spirit guide told me that. And then I started having flashback memories of it, which is bizarre because there's a base. There's a United States militaristic base on the other side of Neptune. And supposedly not a lot of people know about it, but I have been informed that quite a few people know about it, which is interesting information on both sides. What else? Oh God, why can't I never remember the name of this planet. Oh, I call it Moldak. That's not what I mean. Oh, what the frick? It's the one our Keith Andrews talks about. There's humans there. Lots of humans there. You got humans inside the Mars base. ETs inside the Mars base. ETs and non-ETs inside Earth. Okay. Hey, Drew. Hugs to all my friends. Okay. Amy, I can't imagine any ET race capable of star travel as having anything even remotely like how we run things on Earth now. Amy, Musk's latest personal goal is to download his consciousness into computer when he passes. Not joking. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Chris, they have revamped. See, I am getting tired, more tired. Chris, they have rebranded and are phasing out the old name. Oh, really? Did not know that. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that. Okay. Hi, Amy. Howdy, ladies. Howdy, Amy. Howdy, Tim. Howdy. Hello. So yeah, incapable of star travel as having anything even remotely like how we run things on Earth. No, it's well, they've re-engineered it basically. That's why we've got. Oh, I was just about to say something that would have really. There's a certain regime that was part of Mars. I don't know if it still is. How long till projected recovered? Oh, okay. So basically, That regime on this planet was incredibly detrimental and negative, and much of that shit is taking place in the United States right now. In my opinion, only my opinion, and how I view it and how I see it, which is one of the reasons why it makes me so damn sick to my stomach. But that all said, oh, hey, folks, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Just dawned on me. Helps the algorithms big time. Oh, I would very much appreciate that. So here's something to think about. That regime took precedence for a very, very long time on Mars in dealing with things. Many different people are remembering it. I'm just now starting to remember it, and I've cried. I'm having a hard time even accepting that. It explains why when I was in high school, during my senior year in high school, our art teacher asked us to do something specific for an art project. And the first thing that popped into my head was a specific symbol with an X through it. And I had never done anything like that before. And I will never forget the reaction of my art teacher. He was like, my God, Nikki, where the hell did that come from? And I know that you got to remember, at the time I was 5'3". I'm now 5'2.5". I was 5'3", and this guy was like 5'11", 6 foot, something like that. So I mean, he towered over me, even though I was sitting on a stool. He was like, "Whoa, hello." And I just went, it just hit me. I don't know where it came from. I just know that I absolutely despise, and I used the word hate at the time. Now I don't use the word hate very often. I try really, really hard not to, because hate is a very strong emotion and an extremely negative one. I try really hard not to think. So the word despise is a very different form of energy. Let's see if this works. Let's see if I can do this without drop. Whoops, nope. It dropped. But of course. Whoops. Come on. Fuck's sake. Alright, just a second, guys. And gals. Hopefully I can do this. Will you allow it to do me? I'm going to say hi in chat. I just want to see. There we go. There we go. Alright, now that's all taken care of, so I don't have to worry about it. So there are things that are in the background going on. Not only did the global governments reverse engineer metamaterials, but they also reverse engineered propulsion systems. And then, as far as I understand it, they got ETs involved to where the propulsion system was corrected, basically, so they don't blow themselves up. That makes sense. And that's how I know it. But then you've got situations to where you've got contracts between certain race of ET and certain global governments. And that's how we got out there, essentially. by doing a lot of nefarious shit. And then you add even more nefarious shit. Sorry, let me check and make sure my device is still okay. So anyway, you got a number of factors involved, different levels of nefarious shit going on via those global governments or specific governments, combined with certain not so nice ET. And that's when I get really angry. And I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's not okay to be doing, in my opinion, to be doing what they're doing, what the governments are doing. So, and then you've got them stealing minerals off of other planets and unaliving the species that live on the planet just to access. And they're trying to protect their own. It's not their own humanity, it's their own race, their own species of being. And I take great issue with that. And yet here I was a pilot and have memories of going into this spin, because as we're lifting off, I got the last man on board the transport vessel, excuse me. And I don't even remember the door being closed for the person. Everybody else was strapped in, and or everybody else was either strapped in, they were either harnessed in, because it's over and around, if I remember, it's over, either around the waist or up from the bottom. I can't remember which right now, but I remember the ones that come down. Almost everybody was strapped in, and the door was still open, and I think I remember all I can call it is like a tentacle. It wasn't a tentacle. It's a leg, basically, of the spider coming down, and it hit the top of the, it hit in such a, I remember one being on top, a hit being on top of the vehicle, or at the back end of the vehicle, and I remember another hit, with, like, the back door being open, and that's the one that spun us. Crazy shit. I can't even fucking believe I'm talking about it. It's just, it's beyond anything I can't even make this shit up. I can't even conceive. I can't even. I've never even read anything like this. It's just so mind-bending to me. And all I remember is, we've got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. Go, 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 go. Get your ass in that seat. Get your fucking ass in that seat now. And I remember cussing up a storm, mile a minute, because I was like, get your goddamn ass in that seat. Get buckled in. We're out of here. And everybody else is yelling, go, go, go. And I'm like, I'm not leaving a man down. Cold day in hell, I leave a fucking man down. No way. And that was my attitude as a pilot. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm leaving anybody behind. And I got in big trouble for it. I had a commissioned officer standing in front of me afterwards, screaming bloody fucking murder in my face. This far from my face, screaming at me, dress down. It was a dressing down. And I'm like, motherfucker. You know? You didn't dare do that. You didn't dare. So why do I have those kind of memories? Why do I have those kind of really wicked memories of, and can I name that individual? Oh, you better fucking believe I can. I remember that goddamn bastard's name. First, middle, last name, and the nickname we called him, and by God, if I could legally say his name, I would. I don't need to be buried out in some pauper's grave or in prison for treason for some fucking bullshit nefarious lies. So, I keep my goddamn mouth shut over the 3 fucking names I can name. Yeah, am I pissed about it? You better believe I'm pissed about it. Amy, that is supposed to be their code, never to leave anyone behind. Chris, an accidental nudge of the stick can get someone's attention. Very true. Very, very true. Yeah, there are things that piss me off. He's the motherfucker that stood right behind me with a death grip on my shoulder, giving me orders to a man that I literally witnessed be unalived. And not a happy camper over that. Did not make me one happy camper over that. Anyway, I think I'm going to end it on this. Mostly because I got to go to the bathroom. I might come on. I don't know. I don't know. I've got, this is 3 hours. It goes to stomach. 3 hours, 7 minutes in length. So, so I might just, I don't know. I might come back on. This is essentially pulling an all-nighter and an all-dayer in order to get this up and running. On that note, I am going to go. I will see you guys later. Hopefully, I will come back. Maybe. We'll see. It depends on my stomach and if I need to eat again. Take very good care, guys. Thank you for being with me. Restore Belief with Nikki. I'm not going to do tonight's episode because I'm doing it now. Because I usually am on Thursday nights at 7:30 p.m. But right now, my schedule is as such, it requires how my health is doing. And so you will see me when you see me next. I will try to give you a little bit more advance warning than I have. So on that note, take care, guys. Peace. Be good. Have fun. Oh, tummy. Yes, stop streaming. Okay, bye, guys.